What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and I'm here with the one, the only Ryan Pineda, and we are going to be diving into his rental portfolio, and we're going to see if we're either ripping it apart or most likely just talking it up, right?
I know. I'm scared, dude. I don't talk about my rentals a lot. I'm always talking about flipping and wholesaling and all that stuff, so.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm ready. Grill me, dude.
Okay, well, let's jump into it. First off, I want to start, you've got a lot. How many units do you have now?
28.
28 units. And what's your total cash flow on those per year?
You know, I never knew until I actually did a YouTube video on it a few months ago, but it ended up coming out to be about $17,000 a month.
Holy cow, that's not bad at all, man.
I know, it allows me to build this studio.
Very cool. That's awesome, I love it. Well, so the one I wanted to pick on, it's actually a video that is blown up on YouTube. It's got what, 300, 400,000 views?
Yeah.
On the 10plex.
Yeah.
So fill me in, because here's the deal. This is a property that I know without a doubt is one of those where I don't even have to dive into the nitty gritties of the numbers. It's just an extraordinary deal.
Right.
So my question is first give us the numbers on it, and then how were you able to talk him into doing it for you?
Yeah, so I bought this 10plex for $300,000, but the best part was we seller financed it. So I ended up having to put $16,000 down. That pretty much paid off his back due taxes, all that stuff. And then I also worked into the agreement that I wasn't gonna have to pay anything to him for 3 years. So no payments for 3 years, 16 grand down, and I get to own a 10plex. And now that same property, it's been about 2.5 years. So I still haven't made a payment. At some point I'm gonna have to. But it's worth about $950 now.
Holy cow. And when you do have to start making payments, is it on like 20-year AM, 30-year AM? What are the terms after the 3 years are up? Which doesn't even matter that much, but
yeah, at that point, who cares, right? And ironically, I might end up just refinancing it because I have so much equity. But after the 3 years, I've got to make them interest-only payments at 5%. So it's just 5% of that $300K.
Did you ever say you've got to get out of it at some point? Because if I was you, just milk that cash flow for life, man.
I know. So I've got 10 years. Basically, that payment's $1,250. And a lot of people in the previous video are like, where's the $1,250 come from? And I forgot to explain that was what was happening. So yeah, dude, the cash flow is gonna be crazy.
Holy cow. So one thing I wanna point out, a lot of times I'll have people come in and they're just like wizards with the numbers. They're talking IRR and cash on cash and cap rate and all of these different numbers and everything else. And then when we break down the property, it's like, cool, you're getting like a 3% cash on cash return. You're cash flowing $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
But you know all these big terms. One thing I love about a deal like this, and this is something I push really hard on my channel, is if the numbers work to the degree that these numbers work, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to run these crazy numbers. You just look at it and say, holy crap, I can add $500,000, $1 million in value to this property by putting it together and negotiating hard. It's gonna cash flow like crazy. Let's buy the thing. And I really think that's what this deal was. And once the deal was there, then you went back and negotiated more.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of people, like you said, they want to complicate things. And even on this deal, a lot of people would not have got it because they didn't understand multifamily. I did not understand multifamily when I bought this, right? Like, I just saw that it was a deal. I'm like, dude, where else can you get this kind of value, even if I'm not sure what it's potentially worth? It makes perfect sense. And so I learned a lot about the multifamily game doing this deal. And that's one big thing I want to stress to everyone is like, even if you don't know how to do it, you go through it and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, and it's so true, and people get so tied up in knowing everything, and you can get to the point where you know enough, you just got to make the jump. Yeah,
you got to make the jump, man. And you know, thankfully, like equity-wise, it's good. You know, we ended up putting $200,000 into it, right around there, and you know, so I'm all in this deal for $500. It's worth $950, but I've been getting $7,000 a month in rent. You know, not this whole time, but once we got it stabilized after a while, and I'll continue to make that as long as I want, really.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, we got to go to a deal where I can pick on you at least a little bit. I know the other two deals I wanted to hit on, and this is because I only do this with a couple of my units, but it's vacation rentals.
Yeah.
For me, it's long-term tenants. but there are huge upsides to doing a vacation rental, and that does make sense for your niche of flipping and having single family homes. So let's dive into the next one.
Yeah, so with the vacation rentals, I own 8 currently in Big Bear, and I've got 2 under construction. And the reason I like that market is the return is good, but also I like visiting up there. You know, I like owning vacation rentals where I want to go stay. And so I got started buying up there in 2017. I bought a second home. That was literally it. I didn't plan to make it a business, or I wasn't trying to like get this insane cash flow. It was really about just having somebody on Airbnb pay off my expenses. And if I could use it when I wanted, that was a win. But when I bought my first unit, I realized that it was also a cash cow. You know, I bought our first one, we paid $200,000 for it, and we put about 30 grand into it. And from there, we were making like over $4,000 a month in gross. It was crazy. And, you know, when we looked at the net, it was like $1,500 a month, something like that in cash flow. And we were self-managing at the time, so, you know, we were saving money that way. But that actually led to my second deal there that's been probably my most profitable. It's a house that was a main house, 3-2, and then there was also a detached garage that they had tried to convert into like a studio, but it needed a lot of work. So we ended up putting about $60,000 in that house, and we bought it for $230,000. So we're all in about $290,000. I ended up getting that one appraised a year ago for like $450,000. We did a refi, and I think now it's probably worth over $500K. But the best part about that house is since it's 2 different units, we're getting double the Airbnb revenue. And like, it's crazy that people pay so much to stay in a little studio in Big Bear. It's nuts. Like, we're making easily over $8,000 a month between the 2 units.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
So here's my big question with Airbnbs is, first of all, you're killing it, right? The cash on cash on that is, I'm sure, through the roof. Great cash flow. I always advise people that you should buy something that you can still cash flow, and preferably cash flow well, if you don't have to use it as a vacation rental. And maybe it has with COVID, but what have you seen with COVID for one? Is it dried up? And if it does, what is your backup plan, and what would your cash flow look like then?
Okay, so yes, this is the weakness of Big Bear. I'd probably lose money if we can't Airbnb. Maybe not on that deal because it is 2 units still, so we would still do okay. Maybe break even or a couple $100 versus making thousands every month. So hopefully nothing ever happens with the Airbnb. But yeah, you know, you're right. You got to have contingency in place. But when COVID happened, they shut down all Airbnbs. You know, this is in California, so we all know from my California tax videos that, you know, they're super strict about everything. So we ended up taking them all off Airbnb, and luckily I found a couple of people that wanted like month-to-month, you know, furnished rentals. So we actually didn't do bad in that scenario. I don't know what the market's like for a long-term furnished rental, because that's not really a thing out there. You know, if somebody's gonna go rent it long-term, usually it's vacant, right?
Right.
So if you include the furniture, I still think we'll cash flow and it'll do well, because we proved that in COVID from these guys. But if it's this vacant long-term rental that you don't have any furniture in, I would guess on the majority of mine, they would either break even, possibly lose.
Cool. So I found one small thing where I can...
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, I hate not having like backup plans and stuff. And I'll tell you this even too. California's a freaking headache with Airbnb, man. You know, even in a place like Big Bear where their whole economy relies on Airbnb. They don't have enough hotels. It ain't like Vegas where we want you on the strip, you know? We don't want you staying in Airbnbs because we want you to gamble. Big Bear doesn't mind you staying in Airbnbs because they want more tourism. They cannot accommodate everyone in their hotels. There's no casino. So I'm confident knowing that, hey, it's not going anywhere, but they are just getting more regulated.
Yeah. Have you seen things go back to normal where vacation rentals have picked up, or is it still in a weird place right now?
No, it's like more demand. Just like COVID made the real estate market like skyrocket, and even though we didn't think that was gonna happen, we're like, foreclosures, this is not gonna be good. And all of a sudden, prices are going through the roof. Dude, Airbnb demands the same way. It's insane.
That is awesome. Well, and that's the thing is if you can find the right niche and you know your numbers and you put it together, this is an incredible investment. And there are risks there, but I think you can mitigate those risks by one, having it be a smaller portion of your portfolio, two, making sure you've got good reserves, and you're in a place where three, even if vacation rentals dip, it's still a great place where people would like to have a good vacation place or vacation home. It's not like, I don't see you getting killed on an equity play if you needed to sell it, worst case scenario.
Yeah, not at all. And the one thing I'll add too is that in these small towns where vacation rentals are really popular, people love going to these destinations, they are risky in the fact that there's not a big labor pool. Here in Vegas, if I want to go get a house fixed and whatever, there's a lot of contractors. In Big Bear, it is a nightmare trying to renovate a home, or if you got a leak or something like that. I mean, in Idaho Falls, pipes freeze, like all this stuff happens that you need people to fix.
Yeah, no, totally. So one other question for you with these. You have how many right now? How many vacation rentals?
8 units, and then plus 2 more under construction.
Okay. And do you plan on doing a lot more of those, or are you planning on now evolving into more multifamily? What's your future plan with
It's not vacation rentals.
Really?
I can tell you, you kind of get what you pay for, I would say. So like the return is better than like a multifamily unit, right? Okay, you make a couple $100 on a multifamily unit versus $1,000, on these rentals. But these rentals are like a hotel, man. I mean, they have so much more headache. The units get more worn because people are just using them in and out. And like I said, the market in Big Bear is very tough labor-wise. For me, when I look at businesses, I'm like, how can I scale this? How can I delegate this? And you can't really do it out there. The labor pool just isn't there. Now, do I think that means Airbnb is unscalable? No. I mean, if I was in Vegas and they allowed Airbnbs, without all the regulations, I could scale it out here for sure. And I would be fine having 100 of them.
Very cool. Now, I know we've talked about these two. What was the third property you wanted to show me?
So, typically investors are looking for, rental properties that are, kind of entry-level stuff, maybe units, condos, whatever. Not a lot of people are looking to buy luxury real estate as a long-term rental. I don't know many that do that. And
Other than like Ellen DeGeneres, right?
Yeah, right? Like, who's doing that? But unfortunately, I fell into one. So I bought a luxury flip here in Vegas. And, I say luxury. We paid $525 for this property. And that's pretty expensive out here. Maybe not so much now. This was over a year ago. And our plan was to put 70, 80 grand into it and sell it for like 800. That was the goal. But I made a grave mistake in thinking that it didn't need a pool. And, I said, we're going to make it the best house in the neighborhood. It's going to have the best finishes. And even though it doesn't have a pool, people will still buy it. I was wrong. And so we ended up, getting killed on it as a flip because it was just sitting on the market. And our hard money expenses were really high on a property like that. I mean, we're paying $6,000 a month in interest. And, we had this property. It took a long time to do it because we had to go through the permit process and we had to, wait for a buyer that never came. And so by the time I ever just finally gave up on it, I had wasted like 8 or 9 months in hard money expense. So I was already $50,000 in the hole. And so I just said, you know what? I'm keeping it. This is just not what I want to do anymore. So we ended up renting it out, and I made a deal with the tenant. And I said, hey, if we're going to rent it out to you, you'll allow us to build a pool. Because that was the whole reason why it didn't succeed. So we rented it out for $5,000, and we started the process on the pool. And going into it, once we refinance out of the hard money, because we're still in it, the rent will be about $4,000, or not the rent, the mortgage will be about $4,000, and it's renting for $5,000. So, it's turning a a bad deal into probably actually a really good deal as a rental, because now, even since then, a year ago, we had it worth about $800 with a pool right around there. I mean, there are comps now at $900, because the market has gone so crazy. So it actually might not be a bad flip at this point, you know,
Yeah.
if we tried to sell it. But it's just one of those things where a luxury deal ended up burning us, and then we were forced to keep it. I did not want to keep it. And now I'm kind of happy I have it.
Yeah, I love this because, you know, we're limited on time and you've got a big portfolio. And I usually try to do this with a lot of people where we can kind of analyze what they've got going on. But you're one of those few people that you're not going to just share all of your vacation rentals that are killing it, your other properties. But this is something that was kind of a mistake, or
it was a mistake. It was for sure a mistake. Yeah.
And you're able to say, hey, this sucked, but this is how we solved it. This is how we dealt with it. I know a lot of people want to get into flipping properties, and luxury flips sounds fun. Would you say that flipping the more luxury stuff is a little more risky to begin with? Or have you figured out how to kind of win in that niche as well?
No, I actually have not figured out how to win in that niche. For us, I think it's good to stay in your lane. And so, you know, we flipped hundreds of homes, and 99% of them are entry level to maybe mid-level. Like, we're 99% 400K and under, you know? And we have a system built out that, you know, every house looks the same. You know, this is not HGTV, this is a business, and every house we go into, it's got the same white cabinets, the same quartz, the same flooring, the same paint, and we're able to do that in a systematic level for all those flips. But when you get into luxury, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
You gotta go HGTV and customize it, really make it wow. It cannot look like our $300,000 home. And we did do a great job on the remodel, but we screwed ourselves with the pool. And I made the mistake of just thinking, hey, our remodel's so good that we don't need the pool. They didn't care, not at that price point.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think great learning experience. Sounds like you're definitely just gonna stick with your jam of the
dude.
high-end.
I've tried a couple luxury flips, and seriously, every time I do one, it's never like the payoff we thought. We're like, we're gonna make 100, 200,000 on this. It's gonna be the best deal ever. And then by the time we're done, we're like, dude, we just like spent so much time and effort to like make 10 grand, 20 grand, you know?
Yeah, no.
Or in this case, really mess up.
Yeah, seriously. Well, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you smash the like button. You need to know, sitting down with Ryan, he's got a big portfolio, and we kind of talked before, and these were the 3 that I wanted to share with you, but this guy is an absolute stud, and I'm just fascinated at how good you've gotten at all of the different things that you're doing. I mean, that's a great portfolio, and the way that you talk about it, it's very much, this is just something I do on the side. Like, you were telling me this year is your year, you're gonna get into multifamily.
Right.
And I'm really excited to, 1, watch that process, and 2, hopefully get a chance to be a part of it.
Yeah,
So,
dude, we'll do a deal together, man.
very cool. Well, awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, and make sure you hop over to Ryan's channel. We'll put a link in the description below. If you're wanting to learn how to flip, he is the guy, and also how to systemize your business. I've been super impressed in that as well. So
Yeah.
again, thank you so much for having me, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the future videos.
Take care.